No one wants to accept the fact that at some point you're gonna die. However, it's gonna happen. No matter who you are, no matter how powerful you think you are, no matter how big your ego is, you're gonna die. Or unless some human scientific experiment goes wild and they manage to develop equipment to be able to freeze our cells and just magically make us survive, at some point you're gonna die. And if natural death doesn't kill you, something else will. However, with all what's going on in the world at the moment, if you're watching this into the future, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but if you're watching this presently, with all that's going on in the world, I think it's time to accept the fact that we're gonna die. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna help you accept that you are going to die at some point in the future and control them hideous emotions that drive you insane every night, thinking about how you are gonna die. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Focus Future channel. I hope you guys are having an amazing time in current isolation, and if you're not in isolation because you're watching this in the distant future, I hope you're having an amazing day. I sure am at the moment, so far that is. So yeah, I hope we're having an amazing day. Today I'm going to teach you how to accept death. So if you're not interested in all this and maybe it's a bit too much for you at the moment, then please go and use the link above and go and watch a video where you can learn a bit more about me. Apart from that, if you're new around here, if you've never been here before, welcome aboard. If you're new here, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button to join our fantastic community for regular mental health advice videos, informational videos, and videos just like this one. But let's jump into this video and learn how to accept death. Now, people, I'm a 16-year-old with anxiety. I'm not officially diagnosed with it, but my counsellor has said I have it. And I definitely feel like I have it. So I'm saying I have it. And you can actually self-diagnose yourself with anxiety. And anxiety is a big part of my life. It disrupts my life. It causes problems. It makes my life sometimes a lot harder than it should be. And it makes small little thoughts and small little things that happen in my life a lot harder. If you don't understand how anxiety feels, I will leave a card up here leading you to a video for me to explain that a bit further. But anxiety also sometimes causes that thought of death. Sometimes just randomly, I might just be sitting there listening to music or doing something chilled. My brain will be like, yo, you're gonna die at some point. Do you realise that? And I'm like, yeah, brain, I do. You don't need to remind me though. And then it's like, well, I want to, so shut up. And I'm like, you shut up too. And that goes on for about an hour, and sometimes it drives you insane. And I think many of us can relate to that. Sorry, I just got really close to the camera and saw myself in my display and was like, what the hell? And this was especially true when there was tensions between the US and North Korea, and I thought I was going to die through a nuclear bomb. Yeah, I cried several times during that period of time. If you don't remember that, you were probably under a rock for that period, which was probably better for you. But basically, North Korea and America were like threatening each other, and it got all a bit out of hand. Donald Trump started sending military ships over, and it all kicked off. Luckily, I'm still alive, nothing happened, and Donald Trump was very sensible and dealt with it correctly. But yeah, I was dying during them months. And something that was highly discussed with my therapist, with my counsellor at the time, was accepting death. And at some point, I'm gonna die. And my counsellor literally told me that. Like, I don't think she was meant to, but she did. And I think that gave me a big kick up the arse, and it was like, yeah, I am. I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna have to accept it, aren't I? And a lot of teenagers just accept death naturally because their lives are so depressing. But me, personally, I'm quite happy with my life. You know, I stroll on every day. I don't want to die. I'm too young to die. I've got too many things to do to be dying. And the thought of it kind of scares me. But now, as a 16-year-old boy, I've accepted it. I've accepted that no matter what, at some point, I don't know when, I'm gonna die. But how did I manage it? Now, when these thoughts of death come in, the first piece of advice I have for you is to try and think about the fact that when you're sitting there thinking about the fact you're gonna die, you're wasting your time. Let's think about it. Even when you're sitting there in delirious thought, in negativity, the clock's still ticking. It doesn't stop just because you're negative. You know, when I drink this bottle of water and stop having fun, the clock doesn't stop. You know, I'm never getting that time back. The time I took to drink some water, I'm never getting back. And it's the same with this video, even though I love recording this video, so it doesn't really mean anything. But you know what I mean. So, when you're in these deep thoughts of pure the fact that you're going to die, try and revert your brain back to the fact that instead of thinking about death, why don't I, with my own little brain, go and think about the fact that I could be going out there and having fun and actually enjoying life to my best abilities and achieving the things that I want to achieve, so when I die, I don't regret it. I could be doing that instead of thinking about death. A lot of the time we think about death when either a situation has occurred where we could have died, or a situation has happened when we died. Sometimes it's literally due to PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and sometimes it's literally just pure boredom and our brains are just like, hello, you're going to die at some point. But the best thing to do when them thoughts kick in is to just think about the fact that you're literally wasting your time. Get on with your day, be like, you know what, brain, I couldn't care less. You know, go back to wherever you came from. I want to get on with my day, thank you very much. You know, as girls and as boys sometimes, when your friend texts you a bunch of really emotional crap and you're just quite frankly not in the mood for it, and you're like, you know what, I don't care. I just don't care. Just go away. Don't want to talk to you anymore. Bye. Well, basically, put that scenario into the idea of you thinking about death, and you'll be just fine. Another thing is we've got to remember is death is natural, and it's very much postponed on the internet as this big thing of horror and shock. But if I'm honest, all it is God saying that your time is up and it's time to give your time on to someone else. It's time to let the next person in humanity come along and do their part in the world. That's if they ever choose to. So, if death is on your mind, tell your brain, be like, yo, all I'm doing is letting another new baby come into the world. And I love babies. Babies are amazing. Well, at least I think they are. I've never actually had one, just to clarify. But yeah, they're amazing. You know, I'm letting this new baby come into the world and basically gonna give him a life, which I think is quite a positive thing. If you think about it like that, you're basically giving someone a chance, because the minute you die, someone new is born. And that person, when you died and they come in, could be the next US president. You never know. Now, what is made much harder as teenagers is thinking about dying at a young age when you really haven't done anything with your life and you're like, well, I'm gonna die, but I literally haven't achieved anything. Like, I was pretty much a waste of space. And that's the most common thought that goes through a child's head. And this is when fun comes into it. Making sure you are enjoying the present moment as much as possible. If you can't achieve anything, at least you enjoyed it. Now, before you shred me in the comments and start throwing your iPhone across the room, breaking it and screaming to your mum that I'm actually going to go and kill myself if this kid keeps on talking to me, let me just clarify that I do understand a lot of teenagers have not got easy lives. And me saying that probably sounds very ironic. Some teenagers, quite frankly, are just not happy. Depression, anxiety and stress are a thing. And sometimes when I say, let's go out and have fun, your brain's like, well, no, you know what? I want to sit here depressed. I don't want to go out and have fun. And that's completely fine, to a certain level. But try and make the most out of what you have. The things you do and the things you currently have, make the most out of it. And if you want more out of life, work towards it. There's nothing worse than dying, regretting what you didn't do. And that's actually a scientific fact that I think over 95% of people who die regrets what they didn't do. It's not they regret what they did, it's they regret the opportunities and the things they didn't do. Instead of sitting there on their beds, instead of, going out and, exploring a new country, which you had the opportunity to do, you decided to sit there and listen to music, which you've done 700 billion times in your life. You can't let your own brain beat you. You can't let this thing take control over your entire life, because if you let it, mental health will control you and make you sit in one place, and you'll die with regret. And that's a statement I find hard to make. Talking to therapists, talking to counsellors is important if you feel like you can't have fun. Because if you can't have fun, you need to get support. But if possible, go out there and enjoy yourself, especially at a young age. So even if you did die, you would know that you enjoyed it. Now, sometimes these two coping mechanisms that I just explained about accepting the fact that at some point you're going to die no matter what, and the fact that, sometimes death is made a lot bigger of a thing, and, you're allowing the next person to come along, and the one I just explained about trying to have as much fun as possible, sometimes even that all doesn't work. And sometimes we generally just do need to cry. Crying is a way of your body getting rid of toxic chemicals that are reserved in your brain, and your brain needs to get rid of them. So it cries. Either these toxic chemicals have been built up through a horrifying situation, or something really sad has happened, or you've just not cried in so long to your point where your brain's just like, you know what, there's so much toxic chemicals in my brain, I can't do this anymore. The way I see it is these toxic chemicals eat away at your brain cells. They're like, come here, I'm going to destroy you. And your brain's like, you know what, no, I don't want that. And it just cries, which is a positive thing. So sometimes there is nothing else you can do, and you have to accept the fact that you're going to have to cry. And that includes men as well. I hate the stereotype of men don't cry. If you don't cry, I'll be very surprised. You'd probably go into the toilet of a night crying with a... I don't know. I was going to say something really inappropriate, but then I was like, can't really do that. And what I really have to prioritise more than anything is to not go overboard. The thing that really does consume people is when they're in depressing times, their brain thinks so much about the fact that they might die to the point where they start accepting it so much to the point where they actually want to commit suicide because they think death is better than their own life. And that is a point no human should ever be driven to. But sadly, many people commit suicide in one society for many different reasons. And it's actually the second leading cause of death within the UK. So please, guys, if you generally do feel like you can't have fun, you can't accept death, and you feel like death is actually better than your current life, as hard as it is, and as hard as you're gonna want to just curl in a ball, go and talk to someone. That dream life that you have in the back of your brain is real. You've just got to work for it. And sometimes that means going completely bonkers sometimes and just crying your eyes out in front of someone, opening up your entire world to someone that you trust. We all have dark thoughts. We all have things within us that are not very nice and we would love to get rid of. I'm going through my own problems at the moment. But the importance is that you know your limits and you know when things are getting too much. And sometimes it is time to not be a loner and not try and be Mr. Tuffy and Mr. Hardman, because Mr. Hardman doesn't really get anywhere. It's time to go out there and get support and work with someone to improve yourself. The more you accept that you need help, the more your brain will appreciate that, and sometimes even just opening up to someone can fix so many issues. Anyway, guys, I just thought it was quite a convenient video to make about death, considering with all the crap that's going on in the world in the moment. I'm trying to not say the words. But yeah, I hope we are all safe. I hope we're all well. All my prayers and thoughts are within them families that are struggling at the moment. And I do wish you, on a general level, all the best. But apart from that, guys, please go out there, get the support you need, and try and accept death with the tips I've just provided. Anyway, guys, I hope you're having a good day. And if you're not, go out there and make it a good day. And I will catch you, you dudes, next time.